Hey, welcome back, Sooner Nation. Brad and Rob back here. Little Champion Standard podcast action this Sunday. We got some spring recap coming up. We'll talk about the portal and then a few other things coming up next.
That's my standard. That's my standard. My champion standard. Champion standard. Pull away the answers. Yeah, the answers. The champion standard. Champion standard. Yeah. That's my standard. My champion standard.
Yeah, welcome back, everybody. After a crazy wet week. Oh my gosh, what wettest in history, right?
Is it really? I
Yeah.
believe it. It was like a 10-day Amazon monsoon season here in Oklahoma. Good
Yeah,
Lord.
April. We set a record for April, like 12 something inches in April.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really, I'm really impressed with the draining system in my neighborhood. I'm really happy for that. Like when the rain, I was like, oh, hey, I'm actually happy. There's some people in Edmond that were like driving into their neighborhoods with high waters, and it was dangerous in a lot of areas in the city.
Yeah.
And that was pretty wild. That was pretty wild.
Yep. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. You can find us on YouTube, TikTok, wherever you follow your socials. I know this weekend, after all the rain, I think you, me, and about 80% of the rest of Oklahomans spent mowing and doing that while we could. Yeah.
I just watched I did mow like the weekend just before the rain, and I planned to, and I got sidetracked, and then the rain started, and I just watched my backyard just grow and grow.
Yeah.
And I was like, I either want it to rain until the end of summer, or this is gonna hurt my back. That's gonna be hard. I mean, it was like tall.
Yeah.
I had to go over it like 3 times to knock it down. But yeah, this week was great though. The weather through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, today was awesome.
Yeah.
We spent the entire weekend, the fam and I, outside. Like we haven't. I got a lot done, man. There was so much stuff because of that rain. I did 3 oil changes. I did 2 sets of spark plugs on the vehicles. I mowed the front and back lawn. I did the front flower bed too. Went to the depot and got some front flower bed makings. And then it was quite a bit for a couple of days. So
yeah, you made my yard work sound like nothing.
I was busy.
Yeah, no, I edged all day Friday, and then all evening Friday, and my mower wouldn't start Friday.
Oh wow!
I had let it sit all winter, and so I went to Ace Hardware. I like to give Ace a little of my business every now and then instead of going to the Home Depot, Lowe's conglomerate monsters. So I went around there, bought a bunch of mower stuff, and all the stuff you said you did to your car. I did that to my mower, and it fired up on the first try.
Yeah.
That's when it feels good, when you can kind of refurbish everything a little bit for the new season. But
yeah, you gotta give you a little TLC to the lawnmower. It needs a good spark plug and an oil change every once in a while.
Yeah, I've had mine like 10 years, and that sucker still runs like a top. Dang. So I'm gonna keep babying it as long as I can because they're
what
not
brand
cheap
is
right
it?
now. It's a Troy built with a Honda mower or Honda.
Oh, no kidding.
Motor. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a Craftsman with a Honda motor.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much a Honda family. Mm-hmm. Honda mower, Honda weed whacker, and 2 Honda cars.
Yeah.
I've driven a Honda since I was like my first car. It was a Honda Accord. I put like 295,000 miles on that sucker, and it was still running. I parted ways with it. I'm sure it's somewhere still running as long as you take care of it.
Yep.
But with that, I've always kind of stuck with Honda until I bought this new truck, which the funnest part of my weekend was putting a cold air intake into my truck. It's the
Oh
first time
yeah,
I've
yeah.
ever done that.
You did it yourself?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's super easy. It takes
Hmm.
like 20 minutes to put one in. It's not that. It's just plug and play basically. But whoo, puts a growl on the truck. I mean, neighbor was weed whacking like two doors down, and I turned it on, and I just see him go, and I was like, wait till I get the exhaust on this puppy.
Right,
I'm gonna
right.
get a new exhaust system. It's gonna be real loud.
Nice, nice.
Needed a tailgate vehicle, you know.
Exactly. No, that's perfect. You showed me that the other day. That's awesome. I'm glad you got that for yourself, and that'll be perfect for tailgating. Well, I'm guessing everybody tuned in to not listen to us talk about the weather and our mowing this weekend. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're just gonna spend this episode kind of recapping the spring portal activity, and some of the movement there, and then we may dive in kind of a very very early look into the schedule coming up this fall. So guess where do we want to start? We want to start with some portal movement,
Yeah, let's do
or
portal movement and then go to the depth chart,
yeah, yeah.
and
So
then we
Rob, I'm gonna, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
no go for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you as far as like the spring portal movement goes. I'll pull it up, and I'll, by position, I'll say who left, who came in. You give me
Okay.
upgrade, downgrade, neutral, whatever you want to say. So
Okay. I like it.
yep, I got it here. I'll just present it here. All right. So we'll start with the running back position. We lost two guys. Out with Salchuk, out with Franklin, in with Jayden Ott. So that looks like a downgrade, right? We lost two guys and we got one in.
No.
Right?
No. No.
Oh,
It's
okay.
definitely that's an upgrade.
Two minus one. I mean, come on, Rob. What do you mean?
No. Jen. I mean, Franklin had a couple, actually some really good plays for us last year. He had was it Houston that he had a really good play? There was a game where he had some good plays. And
Yeah, that
Salchuk, I
sounds,
don't know what
yeah.
happened to him. He was abducted by aliens last year. We never really saw him. Jayden Ott, yeah, no, I mean that's an upgrade. Ott's gonna be a great back for us.
Yeah, and I need to learn how to put my vowels in when I'm typing names in, because Jayden does have an E in his last name, I believe.
No, I don't
So
think he does.
is
I
it?
think that's spelled right.
I don't know,
Yeah.
man. That looks wrong. But anyway,
No, it's not.
is it?
His name
Is
is
it not?
yeah. You
Okay.
have it spelled right.
All right. Tight end room. We lost Davin Mitchell and didn't get anybody in return. But
Push.
Davin. Yeah.
Neutral.
Well, Davin had turned into Devon, however you say it. He was trying to make himself an offensive lineman. Apparently he
Apparently
was up
so.
to 280, and yeah, just never really. I don't know any other way to put this, but never really, committed to college football.
Yeah.
I don't
You have
know.
guys like that.
Yeah.
College, I would say, is like the first time a player really is question whether they want to play football or not. They might have, you go through high school ball, you've got talent, and yeah, you like to play, but college football is like you have to want to play because you are always playing hurt, and then there's a lot of guys that have like the supreme talent guys can go through college that way of liking football, but the NFL sorts all of them out. Like you have to want to play football, and we want players at OU that want to play on Sundays and want to play football, and like they, you got to play hurt. You got to play hurt. I don't think he was playing hurt. I think he just most likely just got dropped on a college campus and was having fun, and there's, like you said, the love wasn't there. So
Yeah.
we want players that want to be here, want to play football. Like the
Yeah.
actual football is a hard contact sport, man. It's a physical game. It's a gladiator sport.
Yeah.
You're
Sure
gonna get
is.
hit.
Yep. Gonna
Sorts
get hit.
sorts of
Got to
Yep.
take care of your body too. Can't neglect it like you could back in junior high and stuff like that. So,
Yep.
offensive line, we lost Josh Iasosa, but we picked up Jake. Is it Mikula?
No idea. No
So we'll
idea. I
go.
don't. We'll
We
say
picked up
Jake
Jake.
three.
We picked up another Jake. Yeah, that's right.
We picked up another Jake. Jake 3. uh,
So yeah,
I would say push. I mean, the need for Jake 3, Mayakula,
yeah.
I can't pronounce names, but the need for a backup center, you got all Owen Hollenbeck, but like you don't want to rely on a true freshman backup center. You're gonna need a center that has veteran experience, and we grabbed his former teammate. So I mean, the two of them being in the same offense here at OU and last year, they can teach each other how to get Ben Arbuckle's system down. And I take my pushback. I'm going to say that was an upgrade because you're
Agree.
basically
Yep.
taking a guard that would probably never see the field to replacing it with a position of need. So, I would say
Yeah,
upgrade.
I was gonna say upgrade as well, just because of that center position, and he has an opportunity to start ahead of Troy Everett. So if that's the
And
case, I think
Troy has injury history,
he
and
does.
he's been benched before.
Hmm.
So it's a position of need. So yeah, upgrade.
Yep. Wide receiver room. Surprisingly, we did not lose anyone to the portal. That kind of surprised me a little bit. I expected maybe a KJ Jennels or somebody like that to hit the portal. And then our very last commitment out of the portal was Jermichael Carter late last week from
Yeah,
McNeese State. So good get there.
I mean, didn't lose anybody, gained somebody. That's all upgrade.
Yep.
I want to watch some Jermichael Carter. I've got a couple of games loaded up. I haven't had time. I had so much stuff going around the house, right? But I want to watch a little bit of him because you have Dion Burks that it's expected that he's going to be playing more X than slot, and we need an X receiver, man. And we don't need someone that can take the top of the defense. We really need an X receiver that can stay healthy and box people out for some real easy throws. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of want to watch his film to see what kind of player he is. Is he the kind of the bully like X receiver that I've always wanted for this offense, where those in and out breaking routes, the digs and the slants and the speed outs and all that stuff, where you can use your body to kind of like a basketball player, almost like a tight end, to box people out for those easy throws. Let Dion Burks be the guy that goes over the top of the defense. Let Arbuckle scheme some deep throws to Reagan's and some of our speed guys that can take the top of the defense. I've always wanted that X receiver that's kind of like Trey Harris did with Ole Miss. I love Trey Harris's film. He is a Juju Smith-Schuster type of X receiver, box people out, be a bully, and he looks like a big guy. He looks like a bigger dude. So I want to watch some of his film and see what I see what I learn.
Yeah. Good late addition. If nothing else, just an insurance policy for Giovanni Gibson if he doesn't make it back until maybe a little later in September possibly or something. Next up on here, a little bit of a surprise. Maybe not a huge surprise, but quarterback Cole Gonzalez came in from was it Western Carolina or Coastal Carolina?
Western Carolina.
Yeah. Came in the winter portal and went back out. Probably just saw limited snaps and, just some opportunities elsewhere to get a lot of playing time. So,
yeah,
I kind of hated to see that because I like having 3 really serviceable QBs on our roster, and, not depend on a freshman to be one of those. So I was hoping we'd get maybe somebody last minute replace him, but that's kind of hard to do. So we'll just have to roll with 2 this year, experienced guys anyway.
Yeah, we're kind of in that same NFL mentality. If your starting quarterback goes down, your season's over. So does it really matter what your backup or your third or whatever? I mean, it's really about your first starting quarterback, and then with now free agency and open free agency every year, you can go buy yourself another quarterback. So I saw this as kind of like whatever. I mean, third guy gone, bye.
Yeah.
As long as
Yeah.
Mateer's healthy, we're good.
Yep.
Mateer's the season, man.
Yeah, he is. He is. We will get into that more, I'm sure, here shortly too. Defensive back, we lost 3 guys. Mikael Patterson McDonald, I think that's his second go around to jump back into the portal. Pete Shue, I think is how you pronounce that, and then Jocelyn Maslaska. So lost a little depth there, but nobody that was going to see the field. So kind of a push. Yeah.
Yeah.
D-line, didn't lose anybody, but we certainly retained someone important.
Mm-hmm.
And then picked up Ricky Lolahea from Utah State. So
yeah, Ricky how do you say his last name?
Lolahea.
Lolahea. Ooh, that's cool. I like that. Okay,
I don't know.
so Lolahea. I mean, I like the pickup because I feel like they're kind of stealing from Texas's defensive line blueprint, where every year for the last 3 years, Texas has always brought in a massive dude to give them 10 to 15 snaps a game. This last one was the Norton kid, and the year before that was the guy that was drafted from oh shoot, I forgot his name, but he was sidekick to Brian Murphy. But they want that 6'3", 4', 5" Sweat. Yes, Sweat. Yeah. So they had Sweat and Norton, and then this cycle they brought in another kid. 15 snaps tops. Very strategically placed on, usually it's like an open field and they're just trying to stop the run, like 3rd and 2, whatever, 3rd and 4. If they can get sub, you bring in this massive human to just be a freaking object, just can't immovable object. And so I feel like this guy, I mean, I watched a little bit of his highlights. He's a big kid, 330 pounds. That's a big kid.
Yeah, you can't have enough of those guys especially on like a goal line stand. If you can have throw another 300-pound body in there just to take up space, if nothing else,
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely upgrade. Just anytime you can add another body to that interior. And last but not least, but certainly not least important, finding a kicker, Tate Sandell out of UT San Antonio. Got him last minute. I think from what I understood, they weren't liking what they were seeing out of the kickers in spring, just as far as having someone. Yeah. So, yeah.
Really?
So I think that was why that's why they went out to the portal, because I don't think, Austin Welch and Liam, the kid from Moore or whatever, I just don't think they were consistent enough. And, looking at our schedule, how many games are going to come down to, field goals?
A lot. Lot. We're not blowing out anybody.
Yeah. If you can get you 75, 80% percentage guy over 65, 70%, that can be the difference in, a couple of wins. So
do you find it strange that OU, we have kind of struggled to finding a kicker since Burkich?
Yep. I
feel it's a little weird. I feel like it should be, I mean, is the kicker market like not really like a part of our budget?
I don't know.
I don't know anything about Sandell. I'm sure maybe he's I'm just saying, like, the last few years it just seems
he's solid, but yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Weird, man. Finding him. I've told you this several times. Like, if you really want have a awesome kicker guaranteed in your program, invest a little bit in the soccer. Just invest a little bit. Like, get those soccer players coming to the school, and then just have Ole Miss found their kicker at a fraternity. They had a kicker go out, and I mean, they just had some open competition, but you can have a tryout. You can still go out there and go buy one, but you want to like establish a great floor. Have that soccer program get a little attention and put a little. I'm not saying a lot of money, but just like put a little bit, but put a little attention to that soccer, and you start getting some of the great NFL kickers are from South America.
Oh, I know.
They're all like, they're Brazilian and Argentinian.
Hispanic.
I mean, they're soccer players that weren't really good to being professional soccer players in South America. But you give them a football and you go, hey, it's made out of leather. You need to go over, and you just let them work. They got the legs and the hips and the flexibility to do it, and you can pay them good money.
Yeah.
Turn OU into a kicker pipeline through a South American dominated OU soccer school.
Yep.
Never have to worry about kickers again.
Right. And I think with Nagy, I not that he's going to go turn over a kicker under a rock somewhere or something like that, but he does have, him and a staff now that maybe they can find those guys, the guys that you're describing, you know what I mean? And don't limit it to our borders, just what you said. So, yeah. So, yeah, that kind of summarizes it. It sounds like going through there, what you want out of the portal. I think we said upgrade to about everything, but maybe 2 positions. And one of those was downgrade and the other was a push. So that's what you want out of the spring portal, just to fill your gaps. So,
yeah.
So transition over to the depth chart from there.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Yep.
This is your depth chart that you like to update every once in a while. You've been doing this for quite a while, years.
Yeah.
And you actually have a lot more tabs than this. You track a lot of other stuff too. A lot of other stuff.
Yeah. Well, no, I kind of quit doing some of that other stuff just because it got hard to keep up with. So I'll just stick it to the depth chart.
The free. Okay.
The portal and everything else, it just gets kind of crazy. But yeah. No, I have a couple of websites I just kind of glance off of, and our friends over at TFB do a great job. Zach Givens always throws his out there, so I certainly like to give his a glance before I finalize mine to make sure I didn't have something totally out of whack.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just want to start with the top and kind of work our way down.
Yeah, let's do it.
We kind of slotted Jermichael Carter in there before the podcast. He's there kind of in that third position there as an X. Really didn't know where to put him, but he's definitely in the in the depth chart somewhere.
Yeah. So we're taking a look. We're taking a look at the wide receiver group, right? So we got like X, Y, and Z. X is usually to is the receiver that you can move from left to right in an air raid system. That's the one that you like to play with. Your Z is always your outside receiver, and then your Y is your slot receiver. So, yeah, I mean this room looks stacked. I mean, there's a lot of receivers, and you mentioned Jermichael Carter. Who else do we got here? Who else that you see here?
So Giovanni Gibson, who was just having a great spring until he got injured, just getting a lot of rave reviews out of him during the spring. So hopefully he can come back. A leg injury. He's projected to get back maybe late in fall camp at the earliest. So there's a chance he could be ready by the season, but you just don't want to, rush him back or anything like that. If he's back by Michigan, I think we're both pretty content if that happens. So,
oh, sure.
And then Zion Kearney on that X position as well. And then one of the freshmen, both the freshmen that have came in, Manny Choice and Elijah Thomas, they've looked the part when they came in. So I know that it's just about picking up the offense with them and adjusting to college. So
we basically have this depth chart looked like how we would want to see it when everybody's healthy and they're all in their respected positions. So we got Deion Burks at the slot, and then Giovanni at X moving around, which kind of that makes sense because Giovanni's I feel is a little lighter and a little bit quicker than Jayden Gibson. But then Gibson's kind of the guy you want to play bully ball because he's got those longer arms and bigger body. Yeah, I mean this there's no shortage of dudes here. I mean, from anytime I talk about the defensive ends, like you want defensive ends that are kind of like you want a room that's full of just different dudes. You want the big tall guys, you want the short twitchier guys. You want to be able to mix and match because as you go through the season, these receivers are going to go up against bigger corners, like over in Georgia, like to play a lot of man coverage, and then they'll go and play Alabama, where they like to play a little bit. They're a little bit smaller, but they're faster, and they like to play zone and come down and hit you. So you gotta have to be able to mix and match. Of course, you got your guys like Deion Burks that'll never come off the field, but you get to that second and third line of the depth chart, and you got Kearney and Sategna and then you've got Reagans and Ragan, sorry, and Jordan Jacobs. So no, it's a good crop. We just needed a receiver outside of Deion Burks is just to stay healthy. Like we need the length and the height, weight, speed. We need that to stay healthy. Bubble wrap them. Like tell them, just we got to do something to keep them healthy, man. It's just a weird string of bad luck in that room. They need to have like a Indian medicine man go in there and like bless it, and like some sage burning people and like a Native American chief to go in there and just do some peyote seance or whatever around a bonfire.
Yeah, I feel like we did a really good job of, we had the mass exodus of guys that left the room in the winter portal.
Yeah.
And bringing in Gibson, Carter, Keontae Lewis, Isaiah Sategna, Josiah Martin. I think we did a really good job of filling the numbers in there and getting that room restocked. I thought Emmett did a really good job of restocking.
I think the one receiver that we have to kind of keep our ear to the ground for is Sategna, because when he entered the portal, Arkansas was like shocked. Like everything I was reading and listening and messaged a couple of guys that have their own pods, and I was like, "Were you expecting this?" And like, what can you tell me of Sategna? They, from what they heard of him over there in Arkansas and practice and on the field and everything, that he was going to be a dude. And for him to enter the portal was a shock to them. And they all thought that we grabbed a good player there. If Sategna can earn himself a slot position and kick Deion Burks outside, because Burks is going to see the field no matter what, whether we have the X's or not, that might be a great play where you've got Burks on the outside and you got Sategna working the slot, playing at a high level with no drop off. So
right.
I think Sategna might be one what we're going to end up seeing quite a bit.
Yeah, and I think
he's wait till fall camp.
Yep, and I think he's a good return man as well, so we'll get to see him probably on the field for that as well, which is good.
Yep.
I'd like to see Sategna returning punts and not have Bowen back there taking a lot of hits and stuff like that on punt returns necessarily. Yeah. So if he could give him some reps there, that'd be great. Let's move on to offensive line, since that's a big group here. No pun intended.
Massive.
So yeah, the starters right now we got slotted in there: Sexton, EPL, Everett, Wee Woo and Jake Taylor. A lot of those guys battled injury last year. Most of them battled injury last year. So I'm hoping all of them can come back healthy, and it'd be great if they could keep their starting job. But man, that second rotation's got a lot of players there too. So
Yeah.
I think Biedenbow for those first 4 weeks of the season, maybe doing a little bit of shifting around, maybe not the Michigan game, of course, but there's just a lot of, I don't know, just looking at, what do you think, Rob? This is one of the deeper lines I think that we've seen in quite some time.
Yeah, you've got, if so we put this offensive line after speaking to JY, our resident O-line guru, and if EPL has supplanted Ozida, and you have Derek Simmons sitting there on your second team with Ozida, and then if Howland been supplanted by Sexton, a healthy Sexton, because he was banged up, right? He lost the last part of the last year, and he's back in the lineup. This offensive line looks pretty dang good going with a 2 deep here, because from Simmons, who I think he gave up like 1 sack and 800 something snaps, and Foji is one of your big time high school commits, and you brought in a starter in Jake 3 from Stanford, and then Hosida, who played. Hosida was one of my favorite players last year, because I saw some of James Hale's spring practice, and I saw like Hale posted like 3 or 4 clips of Hosida, and 2 of them were against one-on-one against our Grayson Halton, and Halton did his bull rush, and Hosida wasn't having any of that. And lo and behold, we go into the season, and Halton is sacking quarterbacks from the inside position on guards.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think Hosida is a great player. He's one of my, I don't know. He has a great anchor. He resets his hips and his feet really well. He's really good at keeping his feet under him. And then Howland is one of those guys. It's just looks like he's just barely getting to know his body. Like he looks like a kid that like sprouted up real big real fast, and he's just learning how to fit in it. And I mean, that was probably like 2 years ago, and now he's really he's going to put on the strength.
Mm-hmm.
And that's your backup left tackle.
Yeah.
And then of course EPL, you want to, JY said it best, you want to have anybody on this offensive line you want to have on your as a friend in a dark alley somewhere. Like EPL is the one you choose. I love the play in Maine where he goes and just puts his elbow onto a main player that was on the ground. I love that attitude. I do. I know that I know that's like illegal. It was a penalty. You wrote it, whatever. But having that kind of fire is awesome. Out of this entire group, the one and only weakness, in my opinion, is, or two. One is Everett. Can you stay healthy? And then the backup, I mean, how is that center position going to play out? Right guard, we mentioned all the different injuries. Wee Woo was the healthiest. Right. He really struggled in that first half of the year. He got better. Really want to see him, game speed has to slow down, and he has to work off his blocks. I don't know how many times watching the All-22 all last year where it was his job. He needed to disengage and work to the second level, and he just didn't. Now he got better in the back half of last year, but those, if anything, that's the only thing I see these 10 players is Wee Woo, get up to the second level, Troy Everett, stay healthy, and that's about it. Everyone just needs to stay healthy. So
yeah,
be available.
I could have. Yep, I agree, and I'm with you on EPL and his nastiness. You'd rather have to try to tame a guy down than to have to try to motivate a guy to be that way, you know. So
Oh yeah,
anytime, yeah, you want to be able to have to try to reel him back in more than anything. But Wee Woo, I don't have, you know, he's a backup center. If it comes down to that, you know, he could be an
sure.
emergency center, and then I don't know if Ozida can move over to right guard or what have you, EPL to right guard, Ozea. So um, we have some movable pieces in there. I know within the line as well, so that's helpful. Could be if a few injuries do pop up. You want to move on to tight end?
Uh-huh.
We
Sure.
don't have to. We don't have to. We don't have to talk long about this. We just need some
Yeah.
guys to, you know, just do their part. Nothing special. Just do your part. You know, be a tight end,
Board
catch a ball
block.
every now and then. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Board block
Um,
and catch.
yeah,
Your
I think
13
between
catches for the year.
exactly. Yeah.
You're going to get 13 to 15 catches, catch them.
Yep. Yep.
And taking the house, what, it don't matter. Just catch the ball.
Yep. Especially in the red zone.
And it will be interesting. I really thought Kanik was going to be a portal guy, you know, because he was he wanted to play. He came here to play in BV's defense. You know, he safety and linebacker obviously was his passion. Making the you know, the transfer to offense, I thought he was going to be one of the portal candidates. Now that portal is done and closed, I am really excited to see him as the H-back because he is one hell of an athletic player, and he has one of the best OU player X profiles out there. He is funny as hell. You
yeah.
can't help but root for the guy. So that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I want to see him succeed, man.
He was roommates with Stutz, and I know those guys were a couple of characters.
Oh man, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's move on to quarterback. You know, just that quarterback position really doesn't mean much, right? So
No, Mateer.
Yeah.
I'll say one thing about Mateer, and I think going to this last draft, Cameron Ward going number 1 must have sent the building into just a state of being giddy, because it's obvious that OU staff has listened to some of the staff that Washington, obviously like Ben Arbuckle, but even the staff before Arbuckle was there, and realizing that John Mateer is definitely a dude, and he's got the it factor. And with Cameron Ward going number 1, I think it's obvious that Mateer's a better quarterback than Cameron Ward. He just needs to go on the field and just do it. That's it. That's it. He is. He's a better quarterback than Cameron Ward. He just needs a stage to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And next year he's going to have the stage, and the kid is not, I mean, he's going to go do it. I mean, that's all he has to do. He just has to go do it. And he's going to, that's why I said 2 weeks ago or 2 or 3 pods ago when we were talking about NFL draft and how next draft it was going to be loaded. And Mateer, I don't think he's staying for 2 years. I just think he's going to end up proving it, and he's going to be a one and done. And even though next quarterback class is loaded, I mean, there's a lot of players like Sellers and Manning and all the names out there that built their brands, because all those quarterbacks that are on those lists right now built their brands. Mateer hasn't built his brand yet. Right now in the nation, he's just considered transfer quarterback to OU. And all the writers and everyone's trying to like, hey, the people that control the media are like, hey, he's good. I think fans across the country are not believing it because he was at Washington State or whatever.
Right.
He's going to be in the SEC, and he's going to have an opportunity. He's going to have a platform to showcase his talent. And I think he's going to do good. And whether we're 8-4, 6-7, 10-3, don't matter. I think he's going to do good. and he's gonna get himself into the draft next year. He'll be a top 10 pick easily. I mean, even with
Yeah.
a stellar quarterback class and really a stellar draft class altogether. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's all I had to say on the quarterback
No,
jauntment here today and on May 4th.
yeah, I'm with you. And I thought the quarterback class this year is comparable to the one that's getting ready to happen. The one that just got drafted, I thought it was decent, but I don't see
It's
Arch
okay.
Manning. I don't see Arch Manning leaving. He's making $7-8 million just sitting there in Austin, so I don't think there's any
Is he
hurry for
really?
him. Yeah,
How much?
I
What?
it may be 6, but I think it's upward to close to 7 for his
A
NIL deal.
year?
Yeah,
Holy crap.
yeah,
Dang.
yeah. They were paying him and Ewers like
I I
10 plus, Rob, for the two of them.
well, I knew that quarterbacks are going to make that much. I just didn't think they were going to make it that fast. I mean, we all have to kind of prepare ourselves for a quarterback or a player to make, 30, 40 million in their college career. I didn't know it was already happening. I thought that was going to be after the revenue sharing and all of that stuff. But dang,
Yeah,
whew, that's a lot.
he was top 5 NIL last year. Two Texas quarterbacks were in the top 5 NIL last year, which is freaking ridiculous. But I really
Whew,
hope,
wow.
and I hope Hawkins. I hope like this offense suits him better. I'm really pulling for the guy because if he could pick up Arbuckle's offense with his legs, man, that could be
Yeah.
something. Um, so yeah, I'm hoping he gets a more run this year.
He has a rocket for an arm, man. He's got a good
He
arm.
does.
He's got
He
some zip
does.
to it.
Yep. Running back room. We've talked about Jayden Ott. I feel like last 3 podcasts, can't help but mention the guy since he's one of the top guys out of the portal this spring. But we got Barnes and X Rob and Tatum, still on
Mm-hmm.
campus. Uh, I really like the battle that'll probably go on for that number 2 spot. Just trying to get the second most carries. I like those 3 guys. I'd give the nod to Barnes and X Rob, of course, but I like those 4 guys in our room.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best our room's probably looked, after spring in quite some time, as far as having 4 guys that you could, plug in there that you feel good about.
Yeah, I mean Taylor Tatum, concentration fumbles. It needs to
Mm-hmm.
hold on to the ball. Javonte Barnes, you hope with picking up this Arbuckle system with the wide zone, I would assume is going to be a big piece of our offense. That's going to be a learning curve not just for Barnes, but also Robinson as well, and Ott. I mean, all 3 of them really didn't really run wide zone in the film that I watched at all for Ott. But Javonte Barnes, uh, been here for a while. Obviously, him and DeMarco are tight, and I would hope that this is his contract year. Better offensive line, better offensive system. This is a guy that has stuck here at OU for a long time. I really hope that he has a great year and gets himself drafted. You don't see players stick, especially on the offensive side of the ball, stick with the same team through 4 years. Like, I think that's a little bit of a kind of a trait that we don't see very often. And so
Right.
I'm rooting for him. I hope he has a great year. Last year was not too good, but the whole offense wasn't good. It wasn't just him, obviously, but I'm hoping he has a great year. And X Rob is my favorite running back, even with Ott on roster. I just imagine the possibilities of X Rob with his body type running the wide zone. I just think that would just be. It's almost like he's like a baby Yeti, baby Yeti, or like Derrick Henry. He's obviously not Derrick Henry, nor he's ever going to
Right.
be that
Right.
big. But I like big running backs running wide zone. I think it is such a freaking tall task for linebackers to try to tackle in that scheme versus that scheme. So
Mhm.
I hope he has a great year. And Ott, Ott, we just watched a bunch of games with him, and I think him and Mateer could be a hell of a 1-2 combo, man. Mateer
Oh yeah.
didn't really have a back that was able to take over a game, and Ott, when he's healthy, is definitely a back that can take over a game. He can. So
Yeah,
that
I wouldn't mind us running the diamond formation with
I definitely want.
Canic,
Yeah.
Ott, and X Rob.
Ooh.
Stick
Okay.
those three guys back there. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I
I just
would. I think with these at least these four backs, you could play split back easily. You could have
mhm.
Ott. I would like to see Ott and Xavier Robinson in split back. Um, I don't think Ott is a player that. I mean, he has to. I mean, on film, his blocking, his got a little effort stuff that needs to be worked out. I don't think DeMarco is going to put him on the field if he doesn't block. Because DeMarco is one of the best pass blocking, run blocking running backs that OU's ever had. Um, I think Ott could really up his game in the blocking area, but split back, maybe a little, like you said, a diamond with. Oh yeah, that'd be so cool. So much stuff that we didn't get to do last year.
Right. Oh yeah, yeah. We were very limited on what we could do back there, but all right, let's shift gears and move over to the defense. Uh, let's just start with the ends since the lefty ends listed first here. Of course, we got
Okay.
Marvin Jones in the portal. So we got RMT. He's going to be our bell cow, of course, at the end position, and we kind of have. I'm not going to say three unknowns, but we have three wild cards behind him, basically, right? You have
Yeah.
Jones, Okoye, and PJ, and you're just hoping, really, two of those three really play out is really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can hit on all three, but if two of the three pan out, I really like what we've done at the end position. Downs was good, and Woolard, Trace Ford, had his moments as well. So they're going to have to, especially Okoye is the one I'm excited about because we've seen tape on Jones and we've had PJ and on campus for a couple years now. So I'm really
Yeah.
kind of looking forward to see what number 16 can do. But
Yeah. Koye is the one that I'm really listening to. I watching the others, PJ, long arms. I mean, just a specimen. Weighs 7-foot wingspan and everything, but it still felt like game speed was maybe a little bit of an issue. I'm not sure. I mean, he has all the athletic ability in the world, I think. I mean, he just looks the part, but he does play a little wild at times. I mean, when we've seen him, you and I watched him um, last spring game and in some of these games last year, and he just seemed like his hands and feet were all over the place. I mean, you gotta tighten it up. You gotta tighten it. You gotta tighten up. Uh, Danny Okoye, dude, looks like a monster. And there was something about like those small school Oklahoma football players that like grew up watching Oklahoma football, Oklahoma product. I you see players that come in and out with 5 stars, 4 stars, and uh, they just the love of the game sort of dissipates. For some reason, Danny Okoye definitely feels like a guy that loves football. He's an Oklahoma product, small school, looks apart. He's got the height, weight, speed all checked up. Check, check, check. I feel like if I'm listening in fall camp for him, like out of the defensive end room, it's him. Marvin Jones didn't really move the needle for me. I watched 5 games of Florida State, and I get it. Florida State had a bad year. He was terrible versus the run. He was terrible. He was playing patty cake. There was another defensive end for Florida State, number 56, 59, I think, that played way better on the same team, going through the same losing season, same everything. He outplayed Jones, benched him, basically. I mean, Jones would get the start, but he would be gone by the third quarter, and he would come in and spell a little bit in the fourth quarter. But I have the mentality of, look at like Myles Garrett as a defensive end in the NFL. Yes, he's an all-world player and everything, but how many losing seasons has that guy gone through? Does he take plays off? No, that he does not. Myles Garrett and some of the great players pick a defensive end of great teams, of great player or whatever. Losing season or not, you don't take plays off. And those at the time, I must be crazy and nuts, but when I want to build an OU football team, I see an OU football team, I think it needs to be on that type of standard, Sunday standard, champion standard. And I want him to do good, because if he does good, OU's going to do good. But out of the 3, if I was going to pick between Okoye, Marvis Jones Jr., or PJ, I'm picking Okoye. I'll take the rising, getting a little bit better, the one that's grinding, the one that has, that's putting the work in, and PJ too, like one of them. But if I was going to pick one, I'd say Okoye. He's probably the furthest one out of all 3 of them. He could be like defensive technical wise, but out of the 3, I'll stick my neck out on Okoye.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
And Oregon almost got him, right? Like, Oregon was recruiting him big time.
I didn't remember that.
Was he not? I'm pretty sure it was Oregon.
No, I knew they were after Bowen. I didn't know they were after Okoye too. Are you talking?
Oh yeah,
recently.
Oh yeah,
or as
not. It was as a freshman. It was when he was being recruited. It was Oregon. He was being recruited by Dan Lanning.
Okay.
Like, Dan Lanning liked him, and if you Dan Lanning knows his defense, and if he's coming into Oklahoma to try to steal a defensive player right next to Brent Venables, he's got to be good.
Yep. You want to move inside? Talk about the tackles?
Sure.
Yeah. We got Dominique and Jayden Jackson kind of anchoring it down there with David Stone and Grayson Holton slotted in behind them. Just a really solid 4 group of guys that we can rotate in. And like you said on one of our previous podcasts, just having, 3 of those guys, 2 or 3 of those guys on campus at the same time right now is just kind of, I don't know if shocking is the right word, but we just hadn't, we hadn't been in that position much the last few years. So just being able to keep David Stone and keep those guys around. Yeah, we got some. You think we have a tackle that can go in top 2 rounds that we're staring at here?
Absolutely. Top 2?
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Jayden Jackson.
Okay.
2nd round. Yeah. I think, Jayden's that good. Or even Stone. Like, honestly, we haven't seen the potential of Stone yet. I mean, he might have had the slow out of the gate freshman year, and he could just tear it up. But this nose tackle, defensive tackle room is just filthy, man. This is beautiful. I mean, you've got some serious talent here. I can't believe we're going in 25 with Jayden Jackson, Dominic Williams, and David Stone all locked up. They're locked up, and then you've got Grayson Holton to come in as your 4th guy to come in on some pass rush situations, kind of like the Jonah Lalu type role. Like Todd Bates has that role where he likes that third or fourth guy to be, hey, it's 3rd and 6. I'm gonna get this guy in just to attack a guard. These slow, heavy feet guards. I'm gonna put basically a defensive end over him and go to town. But Dominic and Jayden and David Stone. This is the biggest triple-headed monster I've ever seen on OU's defense. Period. I don't think I've ever seen it in. You have to go back to Harris and oh my gosh,
Dvorak.
yes, gosh, I was like
Yep.
Dusty, and what was his last name?
Yeah.
You have to go back then. Like this is huge. I don't think OU fans realize how massive this is to have all three of these guys in the same room on the
Right.
same team at the same time. Like this is wild because Jayden is probably one of my favorite players right on defense for sure, right next to RSJ and Kendall Dolby. And Jayden Jackson, what he did on the field last year was just I don't think we will ever see again for a long time, decade at least, seeing a true freshman defensive tackle, all SEC freshman, literally chucking seniors and junior guards that have played for 2 or 3 years. This kid walks into the SEC and he just was throwing guys around because that was his job, and he can do it.
Yeah, with a banged up shoulder for a good part of the season. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, that's just wild. And by all the counts I follow him on social media and stuff, but we hear the recruiting visits. We get the news from TFB on recruiting visits and moms and families getting and recruits getting paired with him, and they just love the kid. Like he just seems like a humble kid that's just like walking around like a badass, really. I mean, get him on the field, he's gonna terrorize the shit out of you, working across from you, but off the field he's like a humble kid. I don't know. I don't think you can get enough of him. And then you add Dominic Williams, who is just gonna be a pro, and then you've got the potential ceiling buster. The sky high is the limit. David Stone just sitting there on the second rotation there.
Yep. He was having a really good spring as well.
Yeah.
Heard he was making a lot of strides. Yeah.
If he's making strides against a Dominic Williams and a Jayden Jackson, holy crap! Because the two of them, Jayden and Dominic, set the floor so high to get on the field. The bar is so high for what they did last year. And if you have David pushing and taking reps this early and goes into fall camp, and holy crap, man, Todd Bates might have something he can't even control, Brad. You put these three dudes on the field, he's not even going to know what's going to happen. They're gonna terrorize, man. They're gonna be terrorizers.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it with those guys. Let's move on to linebacker. We know we had Danny Stutsman, the all SEC tackler, leave. Give Kobe McKenzie a chance to step in, show what he can do now in full-time role. I hear I just think it's kind of a, can Kobe just step in and be exactly what Danny was for the team last year kind of thing. I think that's some pretty big shoes to fill, but from all accounts, I think that's what everybody's expecting. But Kip's the one that's probably had the, he's definitely had the big plays, the last year or two. In the Auburn game, the Alabama game, he just kind of shows up at different times and makes those big plays. And I'm looking forward to him. I think he's put on a few pounds as well. But behind him, Sammy O's really think he's pushed him a lot this spring, and
Good.
I've heard a lot of good things about Amasigo, not just at linebacker, but at cheetah a little bit as well. But yeah, I think he'll come in and give Kip a push, and I hope we have 2 or 3 linebackers there that we can rotate in and out just to keep some fresh bodies in there. And then your guy, Kendall Dolby, at the cheetah position, and then we got Kendall Daniels in from OSU in the winter portal. So just a lot of experience, especially at that cheetah position. I know Brent's probably liking that, just guys that he can plug and play and depend on. And hopefully Kendall can come back full strength.
Yeah, Kendall Dolby is, yeah, he's one of my guys. If I had 3 my guys on defense, he'd be maybe 1 or 2. I think Cheetah, I think that's where you want him, is Cheetah defending the slot receiver, because modern game of football, all offenses put their best receiver in the slot, gives them more room to operate. If the offensive coordinator is crafty, he can isolate the receiver on a safety. So you have to have a third corner, and that's basically what the cheetah is a third corner. And if you want to take away the offense's best receiver, most of the times it's going to be the slot, and you might as well put your best cover corner. And Kendall Dolby is our best cover corner. That's why you can pretty much play him anywhere. That's why you go back a couple years ago in Texas that he was a cheetah, he was a corner, he even played at safety. Like, he was all over the place. He is a huge X factor to this defense next year. And I think you look at Kendall Daniels, and I think Kendall Daniels might actually get more run in the early part of the year at Cheetah. Being that, in the early part of the year, you're not, you've got Illinois State, Temple, and Kent State there. For your game, you could get away with using Daniels there as your run-stopping defensive cheetah. Daniels being kind of that, he looks like a safety, plays like a linebacker. He's going to end up playing like your cheetah position. So I think that cheetah spot looks pretty good. Going back to McKenzie and, replacing Danny Stutsman, I think you're not going to be able to replace Stutz's, 4 years of playing linebacker. I think the best thing that Kobe could do is just be a leader for the defense, because you've got it's taking ownership, and that Mike Backer role is like, it should be one of your biggest leaders to the defense, because this defense is losing Billy Bowman and Danny, and the adversity that this coming season, the amount of adversity that this team could face next year if it goes south, is going to require so much leadership to go through. And brutal schedule, blah blah, whatever. But I think Kobe just needs to take up that leadership role and emulate Danny's leadership, and then earn it on the field with great play. But I think the leadership part of this defense is, and this linebacker room with losing Danny, is probably the biggest hole to fill, because you can't realistically, you can't replace 4 years of production that Danny had. But stepping into that, I'm going to take ownership of this leadership of this room. Who's going to do that? Is that Kip? Is that Kobe? You would like to see Kobe do it, because he's that Mike Backer taking Danny's role. But yeah, Kendall Dolby, excellent. Daniels, going to be good. We watched some of him a few months ago. He fits that run-stopping cheetah. Kobe, can he fit that new Danny role to be a leader? And then you've got Kip Lewis, who is just every year he's built himself his brand of football, and it's pick sixes and interceptions and tackles for a loss. He could be taking that next step to get drafted next year. So,
right.
Anyway,
I see some of that leadership rubbing off on Kip a little bit this year too. He was on the field with him all the time, and I think that things like that are kind of contagious. So I think Kip will. I agree with you on Kobe, but I think Kip will, share some of that leadership with Kobe before Kobe,
Hmm.
steps in and actually can fill that, being not the newcomer, but just the guy that really wasn't the starter last year or whatever. So,
Yeah.
and it may be leadership by committee. We may have a different leader at each position. RMT's just an energy guy. He brings a lot when he's on the field, so I like that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, uh, so let's move on to you do quarterback or cornerback or safeties next.
Uh, let's just do them all. Let's do all
Do them
four of them.
together. Yep,
Yeah,
let's do
do
that.
do the back half. Back
Okay.
half.
So safety, of course, we got RSJ and Peyton Bowen, and we got up and comers with Jayden Hardy, Boganowski, Powers, and Wimberly just came in, and Robinson. But RSJ and Peyton, those guys are just going to be the two anchors on the back end. Hopefully Peyton is fully healthy, and that turf toe doesn't linger, a lot. I know that's a hard thing to get over, but hopefully just a lot of rest and stuff. I'm hoping he can come in, and we noticed it last year. He'd be lucky to get 20 snaps a game.
Yeah.
And that's going to have to increase, double this year.
Yeah.
So hopefully his health comes along. But we got some guys, and I like that room. There's a lot of young guns there. Boganowski's just we talk about RSJ being the heat-seeking missile, but Boganowski's he doesn't mind coming up and knocking helmets with people either. So,
No. I can't believe. I love RSJ's game, and it's and having recruited Boganowski and seeing him in the spring, and then see him last season. You want to talk about like reckless abandonment, and I am going to take your head off. I just love those safeties, man. I love the hard hitting safeties. And as hard hitting as Boganowski is, he does seem a lot more fluid than some of them are.
mm-hmm.
Like it seems like he's very comfortable in space from what I remember watching on film. I think he's gonna be a heck of a player, man.
Yeah, I do too.
Like I think he's gonna be a heck of a player. I think there's some man, Brandon Hall is just he's turning it loose, man. And RSJ of course is probably my favorite player just because I like his demeanor off the field, and I like when he's on the field I've never heard the type of clack with the pads and the helmet when he
Mm-hmm.
comes downhill and hits you. In the Tennessee game, I thought he killed somebody. I thought he hurt somebody so bad. I forgot that Tennessee's running back. I mean, he hit him
Yeah,
so hard.
it wasn't Simpson, was
Now,
it?
yeah, maybe it was Samson, and he popped up, but I knew you knew he wasn't right. You knew Samson wasn't right. You knew after that hit, he was like, I need an ice bath, and I just want to go to sleep for the week.
Right.
Yeah, RSJ is awesome. And the story of this room is going to be that right corner or whatever, opposite corner of Eli Bowen.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think?
Yeah. Is Gentry healthy? I mean, that'll be a big question. That shoulder just never could hold up for more than a few games at a time before it got re-aggravated or re-injured or whatever. So a healthy Gentry just absolutely just makes this room. You got a couple of good coverage guys, and you really, Jacoby needs to take that next step, and then we need one of those freshmen. Doesn't matter who it is, just to kind of have the same kind of impact that Eli did last year, whether it's a Jordan or a Cortland Guillory, just someone that comes in and has immediate impact. Going back to the safety room, I feel like we're just going to have to, Billy Bowman was that ball hawk. So who's going to be our new ball hawk that's just back there, picking guys off left and right. Which is it going to be by committee kind of thing, or do we have that guy back there?
Well, Bowman was very aggressive. Like
Hmm.
he was very 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 aggressive, and sometimes cost him some plays. I don't know if we'll. I don't think we have a corner and a safety that's that aggressive.
Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna see the 3 pick sixes type of deal next year, but I think this the Bowen brothers, which is so cool to say because we haven't had starting brothers since the Selman brothers. It's kind of cool to say the Bowen brothers as they both are starting, and not only that, but they're starting at the like it's so similar. They're starting in the back half of the defense. One's a
Yeah.
corner, one's a safety, and the
Yeah.
Selman brothers were all defensive line. Anyway, um, but sorry, sidetrack. I just thought it was cool. But the Bowen brothers, if there was gonna be like that game change, it's gonna be one of them. I would probably put it on Peyton to be that game changing safety. I think RSJ. I love how Brent uses him in the blitz game. I love how he not bring him from depth. There was some of the plays RSJ had where he timed his blitz absolutely perfect from depth, like 8-9 yards from the line of scrimmage, times it perfectly and gets a sack. That's on your team. Then you got Peyton Bowen that can pick it and take it back. Then I mean, like those two are gonna have a big season, big season, and safety play in college football is really hard to come by. Like there's not like safeties are really they get picked on. Like offensive coordinators want to pick on the safety because usually they're not good enough cover players to play corner. They're not good enough to play corner. They're not really I mean, it's kind of a forgot like out of the top four you got like Kendall Dolby, right? He's a great cover player. He'd be a great safety,
Hmm.
but he's more valuable to play at corner because you need to cover guys. Not many defenses have cover corners and a Peyton Bowen and a heat-seeking blitz game monster and RSJ. So these 4 players are going when you look at the defense at like what do we know we have and what do we know is going to translate next year, you've got a hell of a defensive tackle room and the back 4 look damn good, especially if Gentry is healthy. And
Yeah.
that's your strength is your defensive tackles, your corners and your safety, and then RMT. Everyone else will figure it out. Kip will, obviously Kip, but that's why this team is looking really good because you look at this defense and there's some players, man. A lot of draft picks are on this side of the ball. Like
Yep.
a lot. A
Yep.
lot of draft picks.
I know. I know it. And since we're talking brothers, Malik Hawkins is sitting over there. He's incoming freshman
Mm-hmm.
DB that may get a little bit of run at corner early on against some of those younger or some of those lesser teams besides Michigan. So kind of curious to see what he can do. But yeah, having 2 sets of brothers on the team at the same time is just kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yep. So yeah, good run through on the depth chart. I don't expect this to like move a whole lot, come August, but there may be a few position battles still going on. And we know how
Yeah.
Beadenbow is always like, bunch of chess pieces, just kind of moving stuff around up until game week or whatever. But
Yeah, I
maybe
mean, looking at
receiver room we might see
I was gonna say yeah.
some movement
With
a
all
little
those
bit.
guys they brought in, they
Yeah.
brought in like they have 1, 2, 3, 4 X receivers, 5.
Hmm.
Giovanni Gibson, JG, Kearney, Keontae Lewis, and Jermichael Carter. Those are 5 dudes. Now, are they all healthy at the same time and all competing? That would be awesome. Um, yeah, you're right. The offensive line room is, I mean, Beatonbows that's going to work out naturally. I mean, honestly, this room is so deep. I don't even think Beanbo has to really do much. I think it's so deep. He's just gonna let them figure it out.
Yeah.
Who wants it more? Who wants to
Right.
play? Who's available? I could play any of you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna coach this scheme. You either figure it out. They're gonna sort it out. The players are gonna sort it out. That's how I feel like that room. And then, what do you? That kind of ties out the offense. Do you see anything else? Wide receiver, offensive line?
No. That's pretty much it. I don't see a lot of other. Like if Gentry's not healthy, then I do see like cornerback position battles going on opposite of Eli. But other than that, there's just.
I mean, if Gentry's hurt, if Gentry, his shoulder and football, if he's not able to go, then I guess they would probably move Dolby to corner, which that would make sense because Dolby is your best cover corner. You gotta shore up a spot, but then who's your cover cheetah?
Yeah,
like that's where I get a little mixed up because you need a cover cheetah.
I think
you can't.
Rob,
you have to.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Powers got some reps there with Daniels and Dolby. I never list guys in two different places on this depth chart, but
gotcha.
I want to say Powers got some run at Cheetah a little bit in the spring, so I think they do have that third option there if they need it. So
I think I would rather keep Dolby at Cheetah and say that is his spot, and then I would have Valai, which has the deeper room of cover players, to find himself another corner versus moving Dolby over there, because I don't know if I would want.
I think one of those.
I don't want to. I don't know if I want an inexperienced cover player to be your third corner versus the slot receivers in the SEC. I think I would rather have the experienced cover player covering slots. Like you get. I mean, Texas is good. I mean, that's where Matthew Golden played. Matthew Golden, that just went in the first round, played slot.
Right.
Luther Burden played slot. Those were all players that, if Dolby was healthy, would have covered. Go back to the 3rd and 16 play. And Luther just took off running and just caught his that 3rd and 16 to help Missouri take the lead. Dolby would have been on him.
Yeah.
So you got to have an experienced corner there.
And I know we were looking to add a corner from the portal this spring. It surprises me they didn't, which may give us an indication that maybe they are happy with some of these younger, sophomores and maybe a couple of these freshmen. So maybe they're content with what they have, where they didn't make a push for anybody real hard.
That's true.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, let's put a wrap on the depth chart. Are we still wanting to talk early fall schedule? Just kind of walk through that a little bit, or do you want to save that for the next show?
We could save it. This was a good pod, I think.
Yeah. There's plenty of time to go over the schedule. That's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah, no, this is a good look after spring portal and everything, and kind of the state of the affairs before we go into summer and fall camp.
Yeah, I agree. I like the moves they made this spring just to fill a few voids. I mean, what more could you ask for? Getting Ott and of course getting that insurance policy at wide receiver and a kicker. I still say that kicker was a big ad, and I know people laugh. They're like, "What are you talking about? It's just a kicker." But had a lot of unproven. We had a lot of unproven guys, man. So
yeah, kickers are not football players, but they help win football games.
Yeah.
Very, very important. Yeah, you're right. He's Tate Sandell, the new kicker, is an 82% kicker, 97% extra point. Longest was 54 yards. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, solid stats. I feel like we totally tampered with that to get that guy here.
Good.
'Cause
Two from. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
He was 2 of 5, 2 out of 5 from 50 plus, 7 of 8 from 40 to 49, 6 for 6 from 30 to 39, and 4 from 4 for 20 to 29. Yeah, I would say that's a good college
It's
kicker.
consistent. Yep. No, I there was another kicker that we were after, and someone else got him. So I just felt like we tampered. We reached out,
Good.
found a guy, and we're like, "Hey,
There's
jump
no
in the
such
portal."
thing as tampering.
I'm just
There's no
teasing,
such.
Rob.
We were like, we need a kicker. Wrote a check, sent it to the agent. Agent goes, awesome. And the agent could have been his dad and just been like,
Right.
okay. And then boom, we got ourselves a kicker. I like it.
That's right. Yeah, it works. What else we got? Yeah, that's a pretty good show, man.
Yeah, that was fun. It was good to take a look at the depth chart. I haven't looked at a depth chart in a while, and sort of get lay of the land as far as like how the team looks before going into fall camp. And with fall camp approaching, you got an offensive line, got to find the best 5. Who's going to be the receiver outside of Burks and Sategna, and Gentry, healthy, not healthy. Kendall, Dolby, is he going to be able to play cheetah, or is he going to be pushed to the outside? Defensive tackle room is stacked. I don't think we'll ever have a room that's stacked ever again, to be honest. I think we need to really, really be excited to see what those 3 guys do next year, because all 3 of those guys could very well end up being picked early day rounds of the draft. And then who's going to be Robin to RMT's Batman? Right. Who's going to be his sidekick? Yep. We got to have a sidekick. Who's the sidekick going to be? PJ, Okoye, Marvin Jones Jr.? Who is it going to be? Like we need somebody.
Yeah, I think the beauty there is that position's open. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah. So if you're a camp out. If you're one of those guys, you're like, this is my chance. So, and that's where both of us kind of keep going back to Okoye. If he's the guy that brings it all the time and is willing to, learn and pick things up, he might be the guy.
So another reason why I kind of lean to Okoye is, what was Ethan Downs? What was his biggest trait? Like, what was his trait that made him who he was?
I just thought it was consistency or setting the edge or a couple of those things, or both. You know what I mean?
I always felt like high motor. Like, he was always churning. Like, he has a high motor. Like, go look at some, like, the Texas tape, even though we were losing. I mean, he had some great plays versus Ole Miss where he was smart and he just kept going. Like, he never came off the field. He was a high motor player. Yep. And that leans back to Ethan's love of the game, and he's a passionate football player. And I looked at those 3 defensive ends. If I had to pick who best emulated that same type of thing, even though we haven't seen much of it on the field, Dan Okoye. Give me the high. I want the high. I could be completely wrong, Brad, but when I want out of my sidekick for RMT is that high motor guy. I want the guy that's just churning. Not get it right every time, but I want that guy that's got the passion, that's just churning. Just go. Like, I want to see that defensive end play away, just run the longest angle and just knock someone out. Yeah. That's the kind of player I want at that sidekick.
I think we have that guy on campus. It's just a matter of see who it is that services, if it's Koya. We didn't even mention like Taylor Wine.
Sure.
He's a high motor guy. So you just never know. There's always 1 or 2 hidden gems.
There is.
We didn't even mention them today. And
Yep.
a couple of those guys will surface in that first month, and you're like, wow, he came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Rob's wrong again.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
that guy.
Yeah. It could be Fasusi on the offensive side. We just don't know yet.
Yeah.
But there's always a couple of those guys. So yeah, let's wrap things up if you're good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Now, appreciate everyone listening in. Got Memorial Day coming up here in a few weeks, so we're going to try it. We may do a special taping and just post something that weekend and take that weekend off, but we'll definitely have something prepared for y'all that weekend and we got some guests lined up here the next few weeks as well. So appreciate everybody tuning in. Take care and be safe out there. Boomer Sooner, everybody.
That's my standard. That's my standard. My champion standard.